So I just watched a movie about it's called Travelista or something. Travelista maybe, and it's about um, a travel agency and a woman's quest to kind of find herself after a breakup with boyfriend, and she works for a travel agency and she's going as a secret shopper to explore and see what this travel agency or this travel experience is like in Vietnam. And it's very touching, very emotional for me. And I was feeling things in my gut that I don't normally feel. And I think it's because I'm purging the vitamin A from my system, that maybe this is a hypothesis, that maybe there's something about my gut brain connection that is coming online. I don't know, but it was it's very interesting. Maybe I'm just having a certain kind of bowel movement going through, and it's just uh, different. But the movie, I'm oftentimes very emotional in movies, but I don't think I've ever really felt it in my gut. It's just been emotions that kind of overwhelm me, and I'll cry or laugh a lot, and a lot more than other people I know. So this is interesting. BB's eyes are clearing up, which is great. He used to have some kind of red things in what is that called, the cornea, the colored part of his eye, not the black part. So that's an improvement for BB. His hair used to be very kind of stickly, I call it, and it's getting softer. And I was treating him with the infrared light. I get all that. I'm happy to have this new graphic down on the bottom of the screen. That kind of helps when we're doing a live show and people are dropping in. Maybe helps people to get an idea about the show. And so I'll do some tuning fork stuff. Get BB set away here. He can go on down here. Okay. He doesn't like the tuning forks anyway. Let's do a little bit of this. Got the copper coil down on the base. It's my own design. Oh, yes. Let's use the this stone. This is a really nice stone. I remember what it's called. It starts with an A. Azurite. 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 If you'd like to take it, you just reach for it. I'll hand it over to the camera here, and you can like hold it. Pretend you're holding it and see if you feel the energies from the azurite. And like you can put it up to your head. I had a friend. She had a very active third eye, and she could feel the magnetism of the azurite to her third eye. I used to wear a turban on my head, and I had a piece of azurite uh, that was not polished, kind of rough cut, and it had like some little wires around it, and I could hang it. And I had a silver wire that I coiled, and it looped, and it would hold it right there for my third eye. Yep. Or I would tuck these things inside the folds of the turban, and it was nice. The turbans are really nice. They have a very comfortable feel to them. Of course, I know a lot of ladies wrap their hair in turbans all the time, just in a towel. But guys don't usually do that. We don't feel that experience very often, um, unless it's part of your culture. And it's it's said to protect you from what are called thought forms. Thought forms are thoughts that occupy the space in the air, and they can they can come by you, and they can affect your thinking. And kind of wizards or magicians can cast thought forms about, and um, they can affect your purchasing decisions, things like that, or political thoughts. And it's a way to kind of protect yourself from these external thoughts, to be able to stay focused and concentrated on what you want to do. So, um, yeah. So maybe one of these days I'll get back into wearing a turban again. I think I might like that a lot. Tilt the camera down a little bit. So last, let's see what Roger's doing. Roger calling. Hi, Roger. Would you like to be on the air? I'm on the air now. All right. Let me share your sound in with. Oh, see, I have to do that. Share the screen. We'll add you in. Roger, welcome to Joe Baker's Remedy Report.
Oh, thank you. It's a wonderful day.
Roger helps with producing the show. Now and then he'll come up with some great guests, and arrange, persuade people to be interested in being a guest on the show. We've had some interesting shows. Doug, am I saying his name right? Doug Haig?
Dennis Haig.
Dennis Haig, an author, and then we had some guys from the Rule of Law radio show, Randy Kelton, Eddie Craig, and maybe some more are coming down the pike. So thanks and Roger's one who encouraged me to do these shows. So kudos to Roger.
And kudos to you. I mean, you're amazing. You pretty much do it all single-handedly, where a lot of shows have to, have engineers and sound people and cameras, and you're pretty much single-handedly manning the whole, studio operation, which is amazing.
And Roger has a lot of experience in being part of a talk show fan club, the Art Bell fan club out of Chicago. You were a part of it. Am I right about that?
Yes, correct. That would be the Art Bell Chat Club Chicago chapter, and then I started my own up, that which would be the Art Bell Chat Club Chicago Edgebrook chapter, which is like a offshoot of that, because I kind of wanted it to have a different format as far as special guests and everything. We had some amazing special guests at Chicago chapter. As soon as I started mine up, go figure, all sorts of things started happening with Art Bell, which, by the way, was the largest nighttime talk radio show in the world, English-speaking world, that is. At that time, I think upwards of 500 affiliates, which is massive. It was bigger than Rush Limbaugh, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had some amazing, this was, unlike a chat room, this was actual chat club meetings of, where people go to a location. Usually they were in libraries and auditoriums and stuff like that. And once in a while, field trips. But my interests were mainly down to earth, as far as how the show focused mainly on UFOs and aliens and Roswell and alien abductions and everything. And I was kind of down to earth into the more provable sciences, so to speak, of which he had a tremendous amount of some of the top people in the world, like from NSGS, National Geological Survey, and NASA. One of his science advisors for the show, who was named Richard C. Hoagland, was an advisor to NASA, and just a truly amazing person. Another one was Linda Moulton Howe, which was a former Miss America pageant winner, and just the alphabetical list of guests. A person could check it out on their show. It is now called Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
Okay. Nice. What's on your mind today, Roger?
Oh, well, I can't help it, but dandelions. It's just, they're everywhere. No wonder why the Green Bay Packers are hosting green and gold, is because the state is just, with the green grass and the gold dandelions, I think is more or less depicting of what it is.
Yeah.
As far as the Green Bay Packers color scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. Green and gold. Well, and the roots are white. I've got to look into that. I think the dandelion roots may be free of vitamin A.
Oh yeah, you're on that vitamin A toxicity kick.
Yep.
Which is very interesting. I mean, that could hold a lot of validity to it. You never know. I mean, there is something wrong with our food source, and if they're adding it, and like they add fluoride to water, additionally, you wonder, some people think that they're just trying to kill us or something. I mean, one good friend from Facebook keeps sending pictures of chemtrails in the sky. She's like basically putting a finger up to that, to the sky. And I keep saying, well, the colonel told me years ago, was when this topic first started, it's water vapor. And because I was former with an AGE ground power mechanic flight line with the Air Force, and the T-130s particularly, they showed pictures of them with the anti-foliage, like 55-gallon drums of spray that are hooked into an air nozzle system for spraying, defoliants and stuff, which is true, yes. But I mean, as far as the elements that people are talking about, I'm not too sure, and these are in jet aircraft and everything, and I'm kind of inclined to believe it's water vapor, but who knows? I don't know. I mean, unless you have access to really, inspecting the aircraft on the ground and seeing what's in those drums and everything, and you really can't tell.
Well, they did find this out, and I've got two things that can help you with this issue, and I want to be gentle with you because I know it's not something you're quite maybe ready to to embrace, but
Yeah.
they've got like an Air Force general, retired Air Force general, that's on the
Yeah.
side of this, and I'm sure you'd like to hear what he has to say. Um, and then there's also they got a hold of a NASA a high altitude jet, and they were able to use a filtration system and follow behind some of these chemtrails, and they actually got the particles, and they did spectral analysis of this stuff. So it's not just water vapor. And
Well, we're talking the byproduct of combustion also. Some of the things that they may have filtered and analyzed could be the atmosphere, the byproduct of the combustion of gases and everything, and the byproduct of the combustion from ingestion of the air intake of the atmosphere.
yeah.
So, that's another factor there. I'm not trying to defend or, confirm nor deny anything. I'm just, thinking of this test that you're speaking of. I happen to know, being a mechanic and everything, doing, infrared exhaust system testing and for CO, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxides and nitrogen, stuff like that. So, a test is only as good as, I don't know. Like I say, you'd have to test. You'd have to test exactly what, or know exactly what's in the bowels of that ship and the lines, and whatever mixture there may be, and in order to validate, I would think, why couldn't they do that?
Right. You're very you've got a great mind, Roger, for thinking about all these different aspects about all of this. And tell you what I was going to talk about on the show today is the gut brain connection. I was watching a movie, and I noticed that I could feel things in my gut differently than before while watching a movie. And
Hence that saying, the feeling in the gut. I got this gut feeling.
yeah,
That's where that saying comes from.
I know. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the vitamin A was blocking some of that, and now I'm clearing some of it away, and maybe I'm reestablishing the linkage. I
Well,
don't.
you might be onto something there for sure. I mean, I think it would be nice for the show to put up a list of all of the food sources that people are, subjected to, that they should possibly omit. If in fact that's the case, vitamin A toxicity.
Well, all my notes are up on this page. I'll put the address. Let's see. How will I do that? I'll go to the chat and I'll just type it there because some people can click on it from the chat room. I feel so different. I really do. I feel very relaxed.
You sound relaxed.
This is the page. Oh. How do I put that on the... Yeah, I'm very... after watching that movie, you know, I cried a little bit. Yeah,
What was the movie?
I do that. It's about Vietnam. It's called Tourista, and I think it's called Tourista, and it's about a woman, and she goes, she works for a tourist company, and she has a breakup in her relationship with this guy, and then her boss convinces her to go to Vietnam and to test out this company because they're thinking of buying this tourism company in Vietnam. And of course, she falls in love with the tour guide.
Of course.
But she's keeping the secret from him about the fact that she's a secret shopper, and you know, they're getting ready to
shopper.
Yeah, she's gonna buy his company. And well, it's so sweet and everything, but it really made me just love and want to go to Vietnam, and it made me think of my times in Mexico and other places I've traveled, where it's just so beautiful, and you know, and then seeing people around on motorcycles, or these little, they're, you really can't call them a motorcycle. They are, of course, but they're like scooters.
Mopeds. Oh, scooter.
Yeah, like a not a pedaling type, but yeah, mainly you know, it's kind of got a little wide body, and it's got a hood in front, so for the wind, and kind of like a Vespa.
Yeah.
But cheaper brands, you know.
Well, myself personally, I mean, yeah, there are a few, like, I would love to just go to the Giza Plateau, you know, to be up close and personal with them pyramids.
Yes.
You know, I've told you many theories that I have about it.
Yes.
The pyramids, that would take a 4-hour show at least or so, you know.
Yes. I got to go to the top of the pyramid of this, what they call it, the Temple of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
I climbed the whole thing up. Yep.
And what were your findings?
I didn't feel anything. I thought I would feel something up at the top, and I didn't. What I was really impressed about was my endurance. It was strange that I could have this experience where it felt like oxygen starvation. That's what it's called. It's like when it's when you lose your breath, and you know, you're like breathing a lot to try to catch up. And I thought that because I had that, I wouldn't have the endurance maybe to climb. But I had tons of endurance, and even more so than my travel companion. And so that was cool. I really liked getting pictures of like the dragon heads that were on the side and base of the pyramid. That was...
Well, what kind of water were you drinking, may I ask?
Bottled water.
Okay, because you know there's another issue that I really feel we should cover, and that's dehydration. And to get electrolytes back in a person's system and that, and so because it could be possible that you were just the water was entering the cells, you know, producing energy better that day.
Well, um, it's just been something that has been noted. I stay with someone who was a respiratory therapist in the past, and she she's noticed this about me in the past. It hasn't happened so much lately, but um, maybe a year ago was probably the last time it was happening. And like I'll get up and start doing something, and like my oxygen uh, pattern of the amount of oxygen I need to do something changes, and there's like an imbalance that happens, and I find myself breathing a lot to catch up and or to make that happen. And you and I both had traumatic brain injuries. I found this information on the ozone group that they call it oxygen starvation, and it happens to people who've had traumatic brain injuries. And so that might be what it was. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I sat up on top of the pyramid, and I think I can think back to that. It's nice to have been there. I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but I could project myself there now that I've been there.
Well, you know, the pyramids are the last kind of testament to things of the ancient world prior to a extinction level event. Okay, and the reason why is because they're like the only structures that could withstand, you know, 600-mile-an-hour winds and all of the other elements that happen during such an event. You know, especially the Giza Plateau. Some scientists speculate they could be more than a million years old, even. You know, some of the because of the dating, the dating of the rocks, the composition of them themselves. They're minimally 10,000 years old to over 1 million years old. So,
wow. I'm trying to come up with a joke about, the somehow linking the stars and dating a rock star type of thing. And I don't know, it just isn't going anywhere.
oh, dating, you mean an actual rock star that plays guitar and sings or something? Or
yes. And trying to mix that into a pyramid and dating the rocks of the pyramid.
Oh, yeah. You mean like a parody or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Some kind of pun.
Well, you're a zany dude, so that's right up your alley. You do some zany stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel really relaxed.
Really what? Zany?
Relaxed. I'm deeply relaxed.
Well, that's good. Yeah, today is a really beautiful day. It turned out to be. It was raining early.
Yeah, rainy earlier and cold. And I got out a little bit, put my raincoat on and my rain pants. I had to go help a neighbor with her television. The speaker.
Antenna?
The speaker was there was no sound on her television, and I had to reboot her cable box.
Oh, wow. So what was with the speaker? It just it fixed itself with rebooting of the box?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you're a computer genius, so that should have been very little or nothing to accomplish.
Yep. Reboot the box, please.
Yeah, so, another special subject matter, would be to come up with a menu that's, to go through all of the list of readily available foods at a grocery market. And to, in adherence with all the different diets, like, you have all of keto and, gluten and, any and all diets and like your vitamin A toxicity and everything.
Yeah.
And then see what, take, like you've seen those graphs of what say a credit card company's card offers, rewards and a yes or no and a check mark and all that. And then to have this chart with every different food available, natural foods, not non-processed and whatever, to cook with, and be able to quickly identify, what could be harmful, and what as far as like what you're saying, vitamin A toxicity, because that's something new that's come across, and whether or not it's, obviously the elements are part of the food pyramid, so that's not going to, go too well with the FDA and the AMA and all that. It's going to take quite some time for that to work itself out, if in fact it's true. But to have readily available for someone going to the, many times you go to the grocery store and it's like, oh, I forgot I wasn't supposed to buy that item because it's no good for me or something.
Yeah. That's one of my ideas. I need to put it up on Forgiveness Capital and start a new project. Kind of a shopper's card where you sign up, and it alerts you at the cash register when you're buying something that has contents that are problematic, like titanium dioxide or high fructose corn syrup, or vitamin A. And
HFCS, that is the one big topic for the show. I mean, that is actually a pandemic. That is one of the worst epidemics in this country, but it's also a pandemic. I mean, that substance is banned. I always use the term the Mexican Coke. I'm not even sure if it's still way anymore, but everybody loves Coke, or many people love Coke, with a burrito or with a hamburger or something. And, the American diet of cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke, and the problem with that is that high fructose corn syrup, and it's caused so many diseases and childhood obesity and everything. And there's a really good documentary by Dr. Robert Lustig out of University of California, and he shows the chemistry that goes on when someone ingests any HFCS, and they say it's like so many times more powerful than crack, as far as being addictive.
wow.
Yeah, so
would you like to get him on the show?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. I will actually do my best to try and get him on the show.
I'd like to ask him about the vitamin A and how it might interact with the high fructose corn syrup, and if there might be, other complications or benefits if the body has.
You just really actually hit the nail on the head with the interaction aspect to it, because that's there's a problem with the food source, but it could be a synthetic food source as well. And when you have an interaction of chemical constituents that are being, ingested on a daily basis, and what are the long-term interactions, effects on the body? High cancer rates. Could it be? Could it be? Diabetes? Well, yes. For sure on that. Obesity? Yes. Check. I mean, there's just a lot of. But could vitamin A like amplify it to a certain extent, whereas otherwise naturally it's okay?
Yeah, that would be just. I mean, I'm not a chemist per se, but I have these ideas, and the poor people in this. I mean, well, I mean poor in terms of economic, but um, the people who have to drink the water from the tap water in the cities, where where they're recycling, all these drugs uh, that are getting flushed down the toilet, and then the water's getting recycled and brought back through again.
Well, you know what? You hit another nail right on the head. Is another big topic.
Drug
Is
interaction.
that, well, yeah, the stuff that is flushed down and goes through the sanitary district, and they can't filter it out. And I had a friend that was studying to be a pharmacist, and he told me that like 80 or 90% of all of the drugs have a mescaline base to it. So that explains, some of these 85, 90-year-old women, sitting in a nursing home, and some boy walks up and, oh, hello, Johnny, and they're like really happy and, kind of like content, and, they're feeling no pain or nothing. Well, that might explain it, that out of all of the 80 different medications that they're, taking, which Dr. Lorraine Bay described what they were given to her mother, of which she got her down to like 4 or 5. in her interview with Art Bell many times. But vitamin A, which is what beta carotene and carrots, she used to cure herself of cancer. So, your interaction that you speak of may be the big toxicity aspect to it all.
One of the techniques for dealing with a poison that's in you is to put another poison in it so that it takes the place of the first one. That seems to be a technique that is used sometimes, and I know that I got really excited about a protocol where you use carrot and apple juice, and trying to remember the name of the people who did that. But anyway, it was one of my first big health kicks because, hey, here was something that was curing people of cancer and tuberculosis, and it's just Max Gearson, and his daughter. I think her name was Maxine, and she carried on the work long after he died. And they have clinics in Mexico where you can go, and they also use ozone therapy and have people playing violins. So you go there and it's this nice environment. But I don't know if I'd use it now. I think I'd be a little leery of the carrot juice, but because it's basically the same thing as in the chemotherapy. The chemotherapy has the let's see, vitamin A, the retinol. Vitamin A breaks down into retinol, and the beta carotene is like 2 retinol atoms together, not atoms, molecules. And
yeah, see, the chemistry is key. I mean, when you add or subtract a molecule, or whatever here and there, it completely changes the chemistry and effect on the human body. So it could be toxic in one form and be beneficial in another.
Yeah.
And usually the natural stuff is the best.
Well, I'll tell you, something's overwhelming me with calm and joy. I'm just all blissed out here. And I'm glad you called, Roger. Roger and I used to have phone calls that would go for hours. And we often
Yeah.
thought how cool it would be if we were broadcasting our conversations over the internet.
Well, it's come full circle, I guess, now at this point
Yeah,
in time,
it has.
and that's another big subject matter that's interesting is time and time travel, and I've always been interested in that. And I mean, we have so many subject matters that are actually down to earth. It's not like I've always said the UFO is very, ufology is very interesting and everything. But my being a mechanic minded and everything, it's like we use gauges and meters and physical things to analyze and test the environment or whatever. And a UFO, it's like you'd have to have a craft capable of pulling it over and saying, "Let me see your interstellar driver's license" or something, And that's just not possible. So I just figured I'd concentrate on the more interesting, down to earth things, like things that are undisputable. You know, like pyramids. You know, geological formations of giants. They found fossilized remains of giants and the Geneva Lakes monster. With my theory on that, that's be an interesting show. On the underground aquifers and the like an underground world where the oxygen content is over 25%, which is the difference between now and after an extinction level event. I believe that these massive creatures are speaking of respiration, which would require a massive amount of oxygen level in the atmosphere, is quite diminished now as opposed to what it was back then, and to support giants as well. I mean, there's so many evidences of giants that it's indisputable. I mean, they cover it up. I've narrowed it down to where I'm interested in, the forbidden archaeology, forbidden sciences, forbidden math, even. There's just so many things that are not written in the history books. There's forbidden history.
Yes.
And that's our quest, is to dispel facts from myth. And there's mystery and there's mayhem, and we got a lot of that going on these days. There's wars going on all over geographically. Hot zones and stuff, and the question is why. Why is people are mixed up.
I had an idea when you were talking about the UFOs. And I thought, here we sit on the earth and we think it's so amazing to explore space or other worlds and all this stuff. When they're coming here to explore us. And think about our experience here and how deep it is, and the emotional connections between one another, and situational uh, uh, situations, and we have the opportunity to explore our lives, really, and that's a beautiful thing. And here I was just watching a movie about traveling to Vietnam, and it was a beautiful thing to behold. It made me want to contact a friend of mine who's Vietnamese and tell them, hey, I want to come see Vietnam.
Dude, as far as my thoughts on that, there are so many beautiful places right here in the United States within our borders that are even, have yet to be, explored. That like I said, there's very few places in the world. There are a lot of great places and everything, but the cost involved and everything. I mean, if you got a job that paid you to go there, maybe that'd be cool.
Yes.
But as far as what you touched on with the aliens, it's like if you want to go see aliens, just walk outside and go downtown and look at the people because we are the aliens. Okay, the subject matter that I was exposed to proves scientifically beyond a doubt that we are aliens to this planet. We did not originate on this planet. Okay, we are the aliens. Okay, there's many things. The Earth didn't go through any major changes until mankind or us aliens arrived on this planet. Okay, that's one thing. There's so much proof to the point. It's amazing. That's a whole 4-hour show in itself. The fact that we didn't evolve from an ape either, which gives credence to creationism. Or being an alien, just suddenly, landing on Earth from another star system or planet or whatever. But then who created the aliens? So.
It's there's so many questions, and so many people have ideas of what they believe it was, but many of us have different and conflicting ideas, and there's no reason to get up and uh, all bound up about it all. it's we can have strong opinions, but still, sit around a campfire and talk it out and chuckle at it.
Yeah, it's always great fun to sit around anywhere, have coffee at a restaurant or whatever, and talk about many of these issues. And the thing is that you seem to do due diligence when you're onto something like this vitamin A toxicity. You focus on that and do the research and gather up. And the big thing is to have an open mind as to everything concerning it.
On
I remember.
on the screen right now, I have a link, and it's in the chat room too. And that's where I have my notes about vitamin A at health.forgivenesscapital.com. There's a page on there for vitamin A, and you can see foods that would be less desirable and foods that are more desirable, and all manner of experts on the subject and their websites, and you can find a lot about there, and people can see testimonials about my energy work. I want to take you, Roger, since you like pyramids. I'm going to take you to my memory of the Pyramid of the Sun when I was on top of it. I'll strike this tuning fork, and I'm going to see if I can project it for us so I can take us there. So maybe if somebody's energy sensitive, they'll pick up on this. Here we go.
Yeah, well, my ear was sound sensitive. I'll tell you that much for that one. The ping.
Does it
But
hurt?
just initially, it's kind of shocking. I don't know about hurt, but it's definitely pronounced as being, you know, loud. And there's much to be said. You know, I did research on those bells you were hitting, you know, in the tubes and whatever, through ancient history, you know, on that, and how their usage for churches use them, you know, for many reasons, you know, to not only to call their flock in, you know, for school or services, you know, but sound frequency has been used for thousands and thousands of years, you know, by many. But the pyramids, you know, you got to look at what the purpose is of that pyramid. And since we know that they were built so many thousands of years before the Egyptians, they claimed to being the builders, but they did not build them, you know. Because why? Because they weren't even in existence as a culture at that time, or a civilization. And then, you know, it possibly goes towards any other pyramids throughout the world, you know. It's there's so much, you know, speculation on carbon dating and radiological dating of the, you know, rocks and everything, and that you can't test them, but yes, you can. You know, there's so much confusion about the dating systems of the components used to build these structures. But I mean, they're pretty much known to be, whereas they were built so many thousands of years prior to, you know, these cultures or civilizations. And, you know, they know now how they were built was using a system of levees and dikes, which requires a massive amount of water. Like particularly, you know, the Giza Plateau, the Nile River ran alongside and partially underneath it, you know, the Giza Plateau. And over thousands of years, rivers changed their course. And they proved that out due to the fact that the so-called King's Chamber, they took residue that went about 4 feet up the wall, around the whole perimeter of the chamber, and they tested it and found crustaceous life there. So, you know, you're in the middle of the desert, but you find residue from, you know, crustacean creatures, you know, biological life forms that were aquatic. So that, what does that tell you? Okay, well, that tells you that, you know, either the river ran alongside or underneath, or partially, you know, that's where the sump is. The purpose of those pyramids was to pump fresh distilled water, you know, and also generate electrical power. They had what they deem and classify to be equivalent to a process of cold fusion of today in order to achieve this process. And they found tools and duct work, and then there's that chamber that ran up to the top of it that was discharge of this aqueous pumping operation, you know. And so, I mean, we know now what the purpose of it was. Then we know how it was built. We know where the rocks came from. The rocks came from a mountainside 1,700 miles up the Nile River. So they were taken out of that mountainside and put on barges and floated down the Nile River to the location, and then using a system of levees and dikes raised and lowered the water level and lowered the blocks down upon each other, like, you know, no problem. I mean, I found this out to be true from memory of working with the 28-foot cabin cruiser and being able to myself stand in shallow water and push it by hand. Okay, so I remembered that, and I concluded that it's quite possible because
Yeah. Uh huh. Are you still there, Roger? There you go. Well, thank you. I know you listen. Yeah, we've got a lot of things you can talk about. So Ben Brandt is in the audience, and he says hi, Joe. And and Ben is one of the listeners that I've I worked on his knee and resolved some of his knee pain that was keeping him from working, and he got back to work. And I think that Ben is like kind of a mechanic or metals fabrication sort of guy, if I recall correctly, and based in Illinois. What's that place? About halfway from here to St. Louis. Um, Springfield. I remember. No kidding. I didn't know that. And then there's down in the southern Illinois, one of your favorite topics is to talk about Cairo, Illinois. I'm so glad that you brought that to our attention. I've heard you describe that before, and it's staggering to think about how um, the American Indians were treated um, early on, and I don't know. Wow, no. In Chicago. Right? Interesting you would mention that. I want to share on the screen, uh, which I'm going to do here, a website called thriveon.com. Let's see if I can maybe put that on the link on there. Um, what was his name? Foster Gamble um, was doing this project. And what they were doing was setting up like a sort of an intelligence operation where you would get volunteers to sit on different committees. So you'd probably sit on the Forbidden Archaeology Committee, and they would have these different groups, and they would be, responsible for gathering and distilling information in all sorts of different areas of banking and foreign policy. And they had a movie called Thrive and What Will It Take for Humanity to Succeed. I wonder if I can play the trailer here. Let's see what happens. I don't know if everybody's going to hear the sound.
There is a story we've heard so many times, it's rarely questioned. It says we live in a finite, disconnected universe. That nature is to be dominated. Starvation and poverty are inevitable. There are rulers and those who are ruled. That our bodies are simply machines. That events are random. And we have no control over our own reality. This is the story we've heard 1,000 times. But what if it's all a lie? A lie designed to keep us disconnected, disillusioned, defeated, and down. What if the universe is alive? What if we could access free, limitless energy?
The background energy of everything around us is full of power.
What if we could cure cancer?
After 9 weeks, my tumor was completely gone.
Watching a movie.
What if we could expand consciousness?
A trailer.
Consciousness is information. It has a pattern to it.
What if we could liberate the world?
Some people have the idea that if something is legal, it's moral.
Morality doesn't work that way. If it's wrong for me and him and him and him and him and him, it's wrong for anybody, including government.
From
about
the
30
creators
seconds.
of Thrive 1, one of the most widely seen documentaries in history,
I'm Kimberly Carter Gamble.
And I'm Foster Gamble.
comes a film like no other.
Virtually every solution we found has been made illegal or suppressed.
Their agenda is not a thriving world for everyone, but global control by an elite few.
That rewrites the story by revealing the fundamental fabric that empowers and connects us all.
There's a huge change that happens in civilization when they finally understand that there's a fundamental field that they're bathing in and that they can access it.
We're very, very close to a true unified theory that is backed by consistent, relatable mathematics.
We heard from over 1,000 innovators from all over the world.
Our attention shifted from possibilities to results.
The test is successful.
The ability to tap the potential of the field is what gives us the evolutionary edge that our ancestors never had. The edge to not only survive, but to thrive.
When millions of people say, we're not going to do this anymore, that can end entire empires without firing a shot.
Is there something that we're not aware of yet, the knowing of which would actually transform the quality of life on Earth and have us thriving? Let's find out.
Thrive 2. This is what it takes. Launching globally 2020.
Okay. Thank you for your patience, Roger. So I played, Roger couldn't hear it. So I have my limitations about how all this works here. And this is one of them. So Roger knows that I'm hooked into the field of intention, unified field of intention, and Foster and Kimberly Gamble of thriveon.com, they talk about the unified field theory, and they talk about getting, drawing infinite power from that. And when I met Roger, one of the things that I think made him take interest in me is that I was working on creating a hydrogen cell for my car so that I could supplement the gasoline with hydrogen. And Roger's an auto mechanic and he's been an airline mechanic. He's even worked on Air Force One, if I recall correctly. That's right. Well, 15 minutes of fame. But you were talking about, how people could organize, and I I think Foster and Kimberly Gamble were really on to something with their Thrive On project. I met Foster Gamble at the Tesla in San Francisco. They have an organization that meets that honors Nikola Tesla, and he came there and spoke about the Thrive project, and it was awesome. I got to meet him and tell him about Bitcoin early on, maybe around 2012, and he was talking about what is it called, akimbo or keto, uh, this martial arts, and uh, it was just it was nice. He's a very tall man, a big handshake, big hand, and all that. And but it's sad, these economic times have made it hard for Thrive uh, to continue at this point. So I was even looking to work for them as a systems administrator part time, and still kind of hoping maybe I'll be able to do that for them. That's kind of my wheelhouse of things to do. Hi, I'm just playing this in the background. It's my, it might be a little distracting, but I'm of the opinion that when I hit the tuning fork, I'm broadcasting to the universe, so they're able to hear what we're talking about, and they're able to, you know, participate. It's a little wacky. Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. Awesome. You know, you you light our minds up with the possibilities of what things could be, and thank you for that. It's nice to hear somebody you know, say it as eloquently as you do. And 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 that's what Kimberly and Foster Gamble were doing. They were going around the world interviewing people who had these inventions that were giving unlimited energy, and they were vetting them, and finding out if they were actually real or not. And they found a lot of them that were real, and they were looking to, channel investment money into them and bring these to market. And I don't know, you know, I guess we're not at the point yet where this stuff is quite ready to be uh, brought forward. There's the resistance of that. I'm very confident that the abilities are there. But, oh yeah, Roger. Now you're talking. I hope everybody can still hear you. I think I'm still sharing your audio sync. I've put something on the screen. It's my donation page, a little pitch for the show and to keep the lights on here, as we might say, and keep me broadcasting, keep me going. Oh, what's that song? Keep me going for my Lord. Give me gas for my Ford. Keep me rolling till the break of day. Give me gas for my Ford. Keep me moving for the Lord. Keep me going till the break of day. That's a song we used to sing in church in the youth choir or the youth groups. Yeah. So this is I got a QR code up on the screen. Maybe, let's see. I got to fix the screen here. It's like you pull down on. You've got an Android. You pull down from the top, and there might be a sign there that talks about QR codes, and and then you just hit that, and then you scan scan the QR code, and then it asks, do you want to open it up in a browser? And you say yes, and boom, you're there. Otherwise, that's right. Yep, it's starting. Well, I I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say that uh, some things that you get on the, that come with your phone, yeah, it's probably worth deleting. Um, they are they, they are really trying to sell your information. Um, let me explain why your information is important. Your information is metadata to contact you and to impersonate you, um, to modify how you believe, think, and act. And like, if I'm doing healing work on someone, all I have to do is think of them in some way, shape, or form. Think about what they're saying, what their situation is, whatever, and I can reach out to the ether and touch them, quite literally, in a way, um, and this is what I think is happening in terms of um, this this idea of the eighth sphere. It's one of the most guarded secrets of the secret societies, and it is a realm in which there is a simulation of what's happening in the world. In our existence is also being simulated in a parallel existence. And if they have data that tracks like where you're going, what you're doing, yada yada yada, they can use those pinpoint datum to um, uh, to target you. And no, but I believe there's infinite ones. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me the theory. Yeah, yeah. I feel I can connect and transmit to versions of myself in parallel universes. It was an experience that a girlfriend of mine and I used to have when we would stare into each other's eyes. She would start to see thousands of me, and all leading different kinds of lives. one would be a fisherman, one would be a lumberjack. And when I would speak and we were doing this, she would see their expressions change as they could hear me. No, not at all. Although she's pretty hyped up on vitamin A. She had a lot of near death experiences, that's for sure. I kept I kept bringing her back. Yes, and you know what else happens? I just found this out recently. When I take a shower, I lose weight after when I come out, after I towel myself off and I weigh myself. I weigh between 2/10 of a pound less to 8/10 of a pound less. But how? But how does this happen in the shower? I do. I have this hypothesis that something about the material that's on my skin. We have vitamin A in our skin, and and I'm scrubbing it off with a scrubby pad. Maybe maybe that vitamin A um, has an extra draw on it. Like maybe it's a little maybe it's a little more uh, gravitationally attracted. And I know. And now here's this is gonna make you laugh, Roger. I'm thinking that vitamin A is like kryptonite to Superman. And maybe, I've always thought I could fly. Like I don't I don't know how, but it's like it seems like it's something innate to me that I should be able to just, go up in the air. No, no, I know what you mean. Astral projection. Yeah, I have done it once. Um, I didn't really think of myself as flying. I just perceived I looked at a wool sock, and I thought about where it was made, and I could see like a little hut in Pakistan or somewhere, and I struggled to make my mind kind of rotoscope around it so I could see from. There you go. Yeah. And now I'm going to make myself float up off the screen as I stand in front of the camera. Float. I'll get a green screen and have somebody float me around the room. Right now. I'll put it on. Let's see if this works. As a test. Let's see. I've got to go to my video section, which is over here somewhere. And we'll see. I don't know if I have enough power to really do it. But we'll try it. Okay, here goes. I've got this behind me. It's not quite kicking in yet. Yeah. There we go. We got. Yeah, so I've got the green screen over my shoulders, like draped around my neck, and um, and then I've got a slider. It's slowing down the video a lot, so it's this is this computer isn't strong enough to do this, and hopefully everybody can still hear me there. Right. And there we go. Now I've I've got the clouds and the sky behind me, and a big palm tree, and I'm holding. Yeah.